All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to play through the whole game as Princess Toadstool in this game. So she's most well known for her floating abilities. She's often seen as the safe choice, but honestly, her pickup speed is so slow that it makes several areas incredibly difficult. I personally find her to be one of the harder characters to use quickly. She's not typically used in the regular any % run in Mario 2, so I am going to run through every level, even though there are some tutorials that show how to use her in a couple levels, namely, I think 1-1, 6-1, and 7-2. But I'm just going to run through how I use Princess throughout the whole game. I'll show a couple safer strats as well. One thing that I am going to be using is, if you just hold jump, you float at the top of her jump. But if you just tap jump and then re-grab jump, you can float at a different height. So yeah, so if you just jump, let go before the top, basically before you start floating, you can then re-grab jump to float. But you can't re-grab float once you've started to float. You only get one shot. But anyway, on this first screen, it's the same with every character. We're just making our way over to the door and going in. I'll drop a save state here. Platforming is easy with Princess pretty much throughout the whole game with her floating ability. You can just kind of do however you want here. Again, there's a 1-up here that I always recommend when you're learning a new category. It's very easy to take deaths in this game, and game overs cost a ton of time. But from here, from this platform, same as Luigi, you want to ride across that Shy Guy. And then in the cave here, we're gonna, you can use the bombs again. But I'm gonna show you how to do the clip. I'm gonna drop a save state here. The idea is exactly the same as with Luigi. We're gonna pick up the Shy Guy, run all the way into the left wall, turn around, throw it hard into the right wall. And then right before the Shy Guy lands on us, we're going to tap the up button for as briefly as possible to grab the ladder. As soon as the Shy Guy then hits us, we're going to start holding down, and you'll see Princess start to move into the ground a little bit. And then at that point, you can either hold up again or start mashing the down button. I personally prefer to mash down, but either's fine. So let's see if I can get this first try. Got it. There we go. All right, and so here the game thought we were on a vine, so you can do a vine jump to get up here quickly, but no worries if not. So there's Princess's super slow pickup speed on display. You can walk onto the final egg from on top of Birdo, or you can just grab it and make a hit. And that's all there is to it for 1-1. All right, so in 1-2, we need the carpet to get across. Luigi can jump across using the Bezos, but they just don't go to the right height with Princess to be able to do that. So we do need the carpet with her. The real safe way is kind of doing this like you would with Toad. Charge a super jump, come up here. You want to get over the rocks before coming over and getting another carpet to do this. This will be too slow to reach the optimal cycle on Birdo. Birdo shoots an egg every 4.2 seconds. If you want to hit the fastest cycle, you got to do a little damage boost maneuver, which is pretty tricky, but with a little practice, it's not as bad as it looks. Yeah, so we're going to come over here. Carpet's about to run out, and we'll see that Birdo is going to shoot an egg nearly immediately when we get here. Right there. Yeah, so you kind of have to do something faster than the typical Toad strat to get here for the fastest egg. But otherwise, yeah, it's short level. Just pick a route that's comfortable for you, and that's that. Princess technically can make it up to the top level from the bouncing ninjas, but right before the locked door, if you jump right at the peak of their jump. So if you do the carpet swap too slowly and run out of juice on the carpet before you can make it up to the upper level, you can just charge a super jump from the bouncing ninjas, rather than getting a key and doing the whole section with the bomb walls. Definitely don't do that. But yeah, that's all there is to 1-2. So 1-3 with Princess is another easy one. This level in any percent is pretty easy with all of the characters. You're just gonna make your way over here, however you want to do it. I'm gonna drop a save state here before we grab the potion. You wouldn't typically, you would typically just skip over that shy guy. So here's the potion. Again, the safest way to do this is just run over here, drop it, hop up, and then warp to World 4. We can go a little faster if we throw it while floating. Again, it only saves a little bit of time. If you're comfortable doing it that way, though, might as well. But anyway, we're on to World 4. Alright, so at the start of 4-1, we're starting on ice, and it's the same as with other characters. You accelerate really slowly on ice unless you jump. So as soon as your character appears on screen, you want to do a little jump to get up to speed very quickly. And then the rest of this screen is pretty easy. Just avoid the marshmallows. With Princess's floatability, it's a pretty trivial area. So like with Luigi, you can jump right over to the rocket. Feel free to do the zombie rocket glitch if you want. The zombie rocket glitch is you would pause on the first controller, and then you would need a second controller plugged into the second controller port. You would hit A, up, and A, B, and up at the same time, and then unpause on the first controller. I actually just have a junky controller that I wasn't using rigged up with clamps so that I can just pause and unpause on the first controller. And what that does is it causes the rocket to take off really quickly, but it does drain your life meter. So if you're uncomfortable doing this screen without taking damage, then definitely don't do it. But it's a free like 0.8 seconds if you are comfortable navigating this screen without taking damage. But anyway, let's get into the second screen here. So you come out of the rocket and you're gonna just jump over. Pick a path that's comfortable to you. There's a number of ways through here. You can double jump off that flurry and make it over this auto bomb here, or you can just go around it. You can also double jump off that one to go up and over that second auto cannon. But again, do what's going to be comfortable for you, and you just come over here, you grab the orb, and that's that. Alright, so at the start of 4-2 here, we're starting over rock, so we can actually accelerate like we typically would. No need to do jumps or anything. There is some ice here, and then a vine. We can take advantage of this ice by charging a super jump by holding down and right, and that gets us closer to the top of the vine versus, if we just came over here, jumped and grabbed it. It saves a little bit of time. You can also do a vine jump there if you're comfortable doing that. Drop a save state here. And then on this screen, you just want to jump or duck or however you want to get through these Bezos comfortably. You can slide fairly long on ice without losing speed, but I tend to prefer to jump where possible. See, I tend to jump through most of it. I usually do a slide there. But you can do this screen pretty much however you want. You're going to make your way over to the door. And we're on to the whales. Drop a save state here in case I miss anything. It's probably easiest to just go up top with Princess, and then here's the potion that we'll need for the warp. Drop a save state here so I can show this a few times. So I tend to run and then jump off of this ice block onto the front of that big whale over there. And then from there, it's a small jump and then mostly big jumps. So big jump. Small jump, big jump, big jump, it's a small jump. And then, again, you can throw the potion in midair, but just coming to a complete stop and throwing it up here is probably the safest bet. I'll show that again here. So big jump, small jump, big jump, small, and then a float. And you can, and again, the visual cues I use is to throw under the fourth ice block. If I am going to throw the potion, and I do like a hover adjustment where I don't want to be at full height for throwing the potion because it'll end up on this top level and you won't be able to get to the warp zone. So you want to float like this height, and oh jeez, I just took it out. Took too long explaining here. let's see how, like that. So oh god. So I threw when I was under that 4th ice block and it lands on top of the vase. But again, even as small princess, you can just be standing here in front, drop the vase, jump up, and hold down to warp to world 6. Alright, so in 6-1, this first screen is infamously difficult with a lot of the characters. It's pretty simple with Princess. Right out of the gate, you're just going to do a jump, and jump off this Cobrat, and then we're going to try and land on this guy. So if you want to, for some extra credit, you can make it easier by hovering a little lower. Next thing we're going to aim to land on is this rib cage, and then that pokey will be further over here. This pokey will be the next thing we want to land on, and then this Cobrat. That seems to, for me at least, be the easiest way through this. There's probably a number of ways to do it. So rib cage, pokey, Cobrat, and then we'll come here to the safe section by the tree. Make a little save state here. You can jump through those pretty easily with Princess, or you can wait. We're going to jump up here, go to the second pokey, and then just float over the whole thing. And then, yeah. In this next room, I just run off. You can float over, drop a save state here. So if you notice that Shy Guy went to the right, if I start holding left sooner, it's going to go to the left. And then it'll reach the spot where I'm digging at sooner. So typically you want to wait till you land and then come down, and then you can just dig straight down here. If you can do a little zigzag pattern to fool it into going left right there, or I guess on camera left. But generally what I would recommend, until you're very comfortable, see I'm used to not waiting, is just come and start digging straight down. And now what we want to keep on is this lower Shy Guy that's about to fall down right there. What we're going to aim to do is transition the screen all the way down to where you can see the screen around or before the time it hits the wall and turns around. That's a good sign that you're going to have enough time to grab the key. So let's see if we can do that. Yeah, so that was slightly slow, but fine. So if I had waited much longer, I wouldn't have had time to grab the key. And then, like with Luigi and all the other characters, really, you want to try grabbing the key at the edge. Oh, I waited too long at the start talking about what I'm doing here. So you want to grab the key on the edge so you don't have to dig the sand out from around it. Like that. If you do dig the sand out from around the key, you probably won't have enough time to grab it before you take damage. So in this next section, we're just going to do a little duck hover or a low hover, and then race the Phanto all the way over. You'll always win if you don't slow down at all. And that's probably the easiest way to do it. And grab a block. Princess gets a lot of iframes during pickup. You don't have a hitbox during the pickup animation, so you can just have fireballs go right through you. So especially if you're small Princess, you kind of want to plan on picking up during the fireballs. So Birdo will shoot one fireball, wait 64 frames or about a second, shoot another one, wait another second, shoot a third one, and then there will be about 2 seconds until the next set of 3 fireballs happens. So unless you know where in the pattern you are, always plan to pick up blocks during a fireball coming at you with Princess. Otherwise, you're going to get caught with your pants down. You're going to pick up the block, and then there's going to be a fireball waiting for you before you can throw and get out of the way. But yeah, that's 6-1. Quite a bit easier with Princess than the other characters, thankfully. So 6-2, unfortunately, is harder with Princess than it is with Luigi if you want to do the jumps across the gap. But you need a super jump to get up to this upper area. I'm going to drop a save state. The safest thing to do with Princess is to spawn this bird and ride it the whole way over. But we can make these jumps with Princess. It's just quite a bit more difficult. All right, I'm gonna drop. Yeah, I have a save state here. So the real fast way to do it is to jump from just past this vegetable here over here. And then if you move left while you're falling, you can spawn that albatross. You immediately would charge a super jump and then jump on it. An easier way to do this is go this way. And then from here, and I'm just gonna drop a save state. You're gonna spawn it by jumping out and then hopping up over. So spawn, charge a super jump, try and land on the second one and then jump. As soon as this guy's on screen, you're going to let go of jump to land on it. And then we're going to float over here. I'm going to drop a save state here because there are two ways to do this. The safe way is to come over to the very edge, hold down and right, charge a super jump, and then it's pretty easy to make it over to here and then to here and then on to the next section. The fastest way to do this, though, is to come duck jump from the very end and then jump from the very end. And then we're going to let go of jump around where those two little diagonal, or I guess on camera, those two diagonal stars were, the dim ones, to land on that final bird. And then we can jump up over here. This is a tricky screen to get the hang of. There is no shame with riding the birds with Princess. I find the jumps with Luigi to be fairly easy once you learn the route and get comfortable with it. I've never been able to get comfortable doing these jumps with Princess. It's just quite a bit more precise, but it does save a lot of time versus riding the bird the whole way across, so that'll be up to you to decide whether or not the risk-reward ratio is worth it for you. So with Birdo here, similar to with Luigi, we're going to drop the block, grab another one, place it, and like this. If you're able to get the blocks to end up on top of each other, you can just jump up. Otherwise, you'll need to do a super jump to exit. But again, plan to use iframes if you need to, especially if you took damage somewhere along the way. It's always better to wait a split second before picking up the block than to take a death. But yeah, that's 6-2. So in 6-3, you're just heading up on the first screen here. If you want to do some ladder jumps, you can. If you want to sneak in another ladder jump up top here, just be careful you don't jump over the ladder and end up on top of the ceiling. But yeah, all you're doing is climbing here. I'll drop a save state here. So this is another situation where Princess can do the skip by jumping over with the potion, but there's no shame in taking the sands with Princess. The potion jump is very difficult with her. And so I'm going to describe it before I actually go into actually trying to get it on my first try. I probably won't get it on my first try. So we're going to grab the potion. We're going to come up here and charge a super jump. We have to let go of the run button though, because if you do a super jump while holding run, in the NES version at least, you drop the item as you jump. So you do a super jump and we're going to float over. And then around and you won't be able to see Princess because she'll be off screen. But once the cloud is centered on screen, pretty much, you're going to press and hold the run button to throw the potion. And you'll still be holding left this whole time. And so you'll be holding B and A until you get to around here or so, and you'll release jump. And that'll let you fall fast enough to get down to the potion, and then you'll need to re-grab the jump button to then jump off the potion and clear the wall here on the left. All right, so let's drop a save state here. See if I can get this. All right, got it first try. That, along with the jumps in 6-2, is very difficult to do with Princess. It's just something you're gonna have to develop a feel for because you can't really see what's going on with Princess being off screen. You'll just have to experiment with it and see if it's something you can get relatively consistently. If you can get it in the first 2 tries consistently, it'll save time over the sands, but if not, just take the bottom route. It's it's a difficult trick. All right, so on this next screen, we're gonna float over, enter the door, nothing special here. Be careful not to go right. And on this Birdo fight, with Toad and Mario, it's pretty easy to play this Birdo like you would the 6-1 Birdo. But Princess picks up the blocks really slowly. These eggs will cause damage bouncing off the wall. So it's easy to get yourself in a tricky spot, and so the easiest way might actually be to go for a triple hit. And I just missed the block here. So, oh, and I got a fireball, of course. All right. And so what I did there was, as Birdo is shooting an egg, you drop the block, you move forward a little bit, just walk forward a little bit. I'm jumping here because there's a block in my way. Duck, and then once the block bounces off of you, retreat out of there, and then you can grab the orb. And I need to be big here for the Triclid Fight, so I'm going to do this again with the knowledge that I'm going to get a fireball here on this save state. Oh, there's 2 fireballs. Are you kidding me? There's a 1 in 8 chance that Birdo will shoot a fireball before taking any damage. There we go. Oh, okay. And so Birdo was retreating there. Typically, you wouldn't be waiting 2 egg cycles. And Birdo will either be still moving from right to left or will be stationary at the far left portion of her walking pattern. So the triple hit failed there because I knew I had to skip 2 shots. But that typically wouldn't happen during a run. All right, we're going to head on to the Triclid Fight. You need a super jump to get up here with Princess. I'm going to drop a save state. Safe method is probably building yourself a wall. Oh god, I butchered this in the Mario tutorial as well, or maybe it was the Toad tutorial, I don't remember. 3 high is what you want to be safe from any fire, and then you can just throw them over for all 3 hits. The damage boost isn't too bad with Princess, so you want to wait for a little gap, place this up here, grab this. If you're quick, you can get up in time for that set of fireballs, but oh geez, I'm trying to do this slowly to explain things. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a block up there after in that little gap of fire, land on this one, and grab it while moving over here, jump up, take damage from fire, jump over, and make 2 hits. So altogether, let's actually remember to jump. Alright, so take damage and make the 2 hits. And you do want to mash as fast as you can with Princess. Toad's pickup speed is fast enough that you can sometimes throw the 3rd block before Triclid's iframes have expired. But Princess, with her slow pickup speed, you want to mash quickly so that you don't run out of iframes. But anyway, yeah, I'm just going to exit here, and that's 6-3, one of the more difficult levels in the whole run, with any character, in my opinion. In 7-1, first screen is super straightforward. The only thing you want to do is make sure you don't jump too high to be able to grab the ladder here. So, just jump up and then do a small jump for that last one. We can charge a super jump from the cloud and make it up. The safe way here is going to be to ride the bird, let it get over here a little bit, and then you can jump over to the rocket. If you want to go a little faster, you can hover over. You want to kind of reset your hover so that you can see Princess's feet and be able to gauge those jumps better, but either way is fine. It's not a huge, it's a couple seconds either way. But anyway, on this next screen, we can do the same trick as with Luigi by jumping off the Sniffet here. And then I played it very conservatively. What you want to do is kind of imagine where Princess is. And then when the screen stops scrolling, just kind of picture Princess going forward at that same speed as the screen had been scrolling. And then once you're confident that you've cleared the pillar, you can attempt to grab the ladder. You can grab it off screen if you're, playing it, as close as possible. I find it a little harder to judge with Princess than Luigi for some reason, so I tend to grab the ladder somewhere halfway or 3/4 of the way up because I had to backtrack a little bit from going too far, but yeah, that's that. On this next screen, jump up here. You do need to build a platform with Princess. So this is probably the safest way to do it if you don't want to do any ladder jumps or anything. All right, so we're going to come over here, go over to the left, and then that spark will go through you during iframes. And then if you want, you can do ladder jumps, or you can just climb. You know, from here, you can just step on the clouds and then do a jump up. You know, rather than jumping from the ladder, you can just come over here and jump, and it's nearly as fast. All right, so drop a save state here. In this Birdo area, you can just run off and then do a little turn back to grab this. Or you can do a float and kind of like reset it at the right time to be able to grab the block as quickly as possible. It's not a big deal. It's one fewer thing to think about if you don't do it that way, if you just come in here, grab it. And if you're still big, generally you want to keep the block close to you. So that way you don't have to like go back and forth to retrieve the block. But if you're small, you want to play it cautiously, use your iframes during pickup. And yeah, that's 7-1, on to the final level. Alright, so in 7-2, there's a couple ways to play this first screen. So similar to with Luigi, we're going to be going under this pillar here. And so you can either do a super brief hesitation right at the start, and that way this first sniff it won't shoot you from the left once you get past it. Or we can do instead of a full duck jump, a quick tap and re-grab so you don't get full height. So what that looks like is quick tap and re-grab, and then jump off that sniff it. Or hesitation, and then you have much more room to work with. Either way is fine. So again, we want to take advantage of all the conveyor belts that are moving from left to right. A lot of people will do a duck jump starting right here, because that'll set your height perfectly to get over the rest of the Shy Guys. Like that, and then you can just kind of float over everything. And then we got another left to right conveyor belt that we want to use. We got a despawn here. There's typically a Panzer shooting fire here, but you can float over it just fine. From here, we're going to jump, grab the chain, or if you want, you can float here and do a chain jump, but that's unnecessary, really. So we're going to take advantage of this false floor again. So we're just holding left, hesitate a little bit, duck jump right under here with no hesitation, and you'll be safe. And so a chain jump by holding up and right, and then jumping as soon as you release the chain will get you up here, and we can skip most of the level. And so here we're going to drop down and grab this key. We want to be conscious of when we're heading down here. You can use Princess's iframes pretty easily to grab the key. But we're just going to look for a safe opening here. I made a save state at a bad spot there. But basically you're going to grab the key, float over, and when it's safe to go into the door, you are. You can take a little pit stop on top of Birdo and wait for an opening. But a lot of times you can hover long enough to spot an opening and not even have to land on Birdo at all. But oh yeah, this is a really bad save state. So I'm going to reset this by going back through the door. Oh, geez. Alright, so we finally got a new save state here. This was a really awkward spot I put us in. But coming out of here, we can just hold left and then duck under the first one, and either duck or you can actually just run under the next one. So I'll show what that looks like. So we're just holding left and run, ducking. If you want to do another duck, you can, but it's not really necessary. You can jump up on top of that first platform that the rightmost spark is spinning around, and then jump over the other one. I think that's quite a bit harder than just going under and doing ducks when there's danger. Princess runs slower while holding blocks, so you want to grab this one instead of the one to the left so you don't slow down as much. And then to fight the Hawkmouth, the easiest way to do this is just throw, go over, throw, go over, and then throw again. You don't want to typically try and go under Ethan Hawke. His hitbox is just ginormous. If possible, you want to try and get a double hit. And I didn't get it there, did I? No, I did not. So you want to throw with full speed from close range. And then for the third hit, you want to throw. If you're going for that damage boost, the third hit you want to throw instead of drop. When you throw a block or I think keys work the same way in this game. When you're throwing with momentum, it starts over your head, whereas if you drop it, it's in front of you the entire time. So when you're in close range like that, it counterintuitively is easier, or not just easier, it only works when you throw the object with momentum. So while holding a direction and moving. So we're in the wart fight here. I'm going to drop a save state. Princess can do the fight the way you would with Toad. So typically that first veggie... Actually, you know what? Let me just hesitate here a little bit to get a different pattern. So you could grab this veggie as it's coming out and then make hits on wart the same cycle. It would follow the exact same details as doing it with Toad. So if you want to see that, you can look at any... my any% tutorial kind of shows specifically how to do the fight with grabbing veggies and making hits the same cycle. I'm not sure if other tutorials show that. CoolKids and GreenDeathFlavors are aimed more at beginners. So the typical beginner strat here with Princess is very similar to how we're going to do it with Luigi, and I don't want that pattern. It's unlikely to get that randomly. So we're going to grab the veggie, and so we're going to watch Wart opening and closing his mouth. And as soon as Wart closes his mouth, what we're going to do is a full float, jump, and throw. And that timing works out nicely so that the next veggie will pop out right away. So, oh, I was a little early there. So full jump, jump, throw. Full jump, jump, throw. So the timing is the same when Wart stops blinking after taking damage as it is from when he closes his mouth after shooting bubbles. I keep mistiming this, trying to chat instead of concentrate here. So full jump, jump, throw, full jump, jump, throw, full jump, jump, throw. And I was late there. I'm pretty bad at this. I tend to just go for hits on the same cycle. The super safe way is you can just float over here and then hit Wart from behind, but you lose a cycle every single throw that way. So with practice, the floating and then a full float, jump, throw is probably the safest way to do this. I tend to just grab veggies and throw them at the same time. I find that easier than timing it right, but however is going to be comfortable for you is going to be fastest for you. But yeah, that's the any% princess only route. Already have Toad and Luigi tutorials done. The next one I'll work on is Mario, and then after that you'll be ready to go with any of the single character runs that interest you. But yeah, enter the door and you've finished the run. Take care, everybody.